Alrighty, people, we're gonna get after it right away. We are going to talk today a little madness. We're gonna break down what happened in round one of the NCAA tournament. Along with, obviously, we had a major upset. Not sure if you guys heard about it, but it's kind of the first time in history that in men's college basketball, that a number one seed has lost to a 16 seed, and it's not the fact that it's not a fact of the 16 seed beating the number one seed. It's a matter of the fact that how they did it, how big of an ass whooping it was. They beat it by 20, and it's not a team that you would normally see as a 16 seed. It's just a confusing team. It was the University of Maryland, Baltimore County that beat a 31-3 team by 20 points. Did anybody even know before yesterday that there was even a Division I school called the University of Maryland, Baltimore County? I mean, that just sounds like a typo. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds stupid. But they beat the living snot out of a D1 powerhouse in Virginia, 31-3, and it wasn't even close. They just took them straight to the cleaners. Nothing they could do about it. The final score was 78-58 or something absolutely preposterous like that. I don't even know how that even happened. I don't even know that was humanly possible. I'm pretty sure everybody picked out their bracket, and they're like, all right, let's go through the 1/16 matchups. All right, we're gonna take Virginia, we're going to take Xavier, we're going to take Kansas, and then we're going to take Villanova, and we'll be good. We'll be good. And yeah, everybody thought that, and then womp, womp. All that happened, and, shit hit the fan, and, so did your bracket. It literally probably hit the fan because you probably threw it across the room. Once you woke up and you saw the scores because, Arizona and Virginia, they don't give a shit about your bracket. They don't care that you're going for $1 billion. They don't care that you're going for a few $100s in the company pool. They don't care that you're trying to beat the snot out of your buddy that doesn't shut up. So they don't care. But congratulations to University of Maryland, Baltimore County. Really need to work on that name. But, yeah, congratulations. You're moving on. 16 seed that had to play its way into the get into the tournament. They had to win their championship to get in. And this just proves that come tournament time, anything can happen. I know this is the first time in many, 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 many games of a 1 versus 16 matchup. But all it takes is one team to have an off night and one team to have an incredible night and be able to get up all as a unit and be able to perform. So I love the madness. Love the madness. Let's go on to the next, the beatdown that I briefly spoke about. Arizona getting absolutely torched. Obviously, they're under a lot of scrutiny right now, and their coach basically being on the record saying, hey, I'll give you $100,000 or $1 million or whatever the amount was. For recruiting, so that college is under some big scrutiny. He's under big scrutiny. I don't think that really played a factor in how the players, go onto the court. From what I hear is that it was a terribly coached game, and they just kept doing the same thing that didn't work over and over and over and over and over again. So Arizona, come on now. They don't care about your bracket either. They don't care. Obviously, the game that I love to watch was Miami and Loyola, Chicago or something funky. It was a 6 versus an 11. I actually picked the Chicago to win that matchup, so I was pretty pumped. And, they win at the buzzer on a 28 to 30 foot jumper. So that was great to see. I'm really looking forward to what double-digit seed is going to make it to the Sweet 16, if any. I know we got a few out there that could potentially make a run, and I'm looking forward to every stinking second of it, hoping to pick up a few games later on today in the round of 32 as that gets going on, and then really looking forward to all of that. You just can't beat the madness. You can't beat the madness. You just can't do it. But one of the other things that I didn't want to talk about today, to humor all of my Packer people out there that have asked me time and time and again ever since the releasing of Jordy Nelson. First, let me say, let it go. It's done. It's gone. He's gone. He's gone. He's not dead. He's in Oakland with John Gruden and Pat McKenzie, and that's probably the reason why he went to Oakland is because of Pat McKenzie, and he was the one that recruited him, and that's all fine and dandy. But honestly, happy for Jordy Nelson. He's gonna get like what, $10 million guaranteed over the next 2 years. So that's good for Jordy, good for his family. He's got to, Packers got to do them. Jordy's got to do you. But I hear it. I've heard it time and time again. Well, why didn't they just restructure his deal and all this other mumbo jumbo? Because here's the thing: if the Packers were to cut him and then re-sign him, from what I hear is that they offered him the veterans minimum for a year, which is like 1 year, $1 million, which is ridiculous compared to what he was going to get paid if he was actually able to stay on the team. It was somewhere around the 10, 11 million or something like that. But just to kind of give you a broad overview of what would have happened if they did that, that would leave $0 dues for Aaron Rodgers. If you're to re-sign Aaron Rodgers, and to all those people out there that say, oh, they should have let Aaron Rodgers go, you're dumber than a doornail, okay? I mean, Jordy Nelson's a great player, and that's all fine and dandy, but he doesn't have the keys to the car. He doesn't have the keys to the car. He doesn't even have the tire to the car that's going to take you to the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers got the keys to the car. He's going to tell everybody to hop in the back seat and let's go. So to everybody that says Jordy Nelson is, they should have got rid of Aaron Rodgers over Jordy Nelson, you're being stupid, being ridiculous. But the point that I wanted to bring up is what happens when you go over the salary cap in the NFL. So just the kind of basic rules on, it's not like the NBA, you can't go over the salary cap. It's a hard ceiling and a hard bottom. And by hard bottom, I mean you have to spend a certain amount of money on your roster because they don't want tanking. They want everybody to avoid the tanking. And you can't go over the salary cap, which would have happened if the Packers restructured Jordy Nelson's deal. They signed Muhammad Wilkerson and they signed Jimmy Graham, and if they signed Aaron Rodgers, they would have gone over on the cap, and the penalties of going over or staying below a certain point of the cap is like a $5 million fine. You lose draft picks. You lose all this mumbo jumbo, and it's just not going to happen. It's not the NBA where you can go over on the salary cap and you can pay like a $21 million luxury tax. You cannot do that. It's a hard ceiling, hard floor. It's like millions of dollars in fines, and that's per violation of going over the cap. So it's like $5 million. You lose a whole bunch of draft picks. It's just not a good situation. You want to stay away from that as much as possible. That's why if I heard that the Packers were, before he got signed to Houston, that they were looking at Tyrann Mathieu. They put in an offer sheet to Kyle Fuller, and I can tell you right now, as if Kyle Fuller came to the Green Bay Packers, you would have saw Brian Bulaga be released, which is all fine and dandy by me because Brian Bulaga is owed like 12 point some odd million, and that's about as much as the Packers were going to pay Kyle Fuller. So that the NFL is very strict when it comes to that. That's how they make it fair across the board. You have to work the system. You have to be able to negotiate good contracts, and that's why it's such a big risk when it comes to NFL free agency and picking up players and how much they spend and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to give you guys an overview of that and go in and as well as kind of give you an update on kind of what's going on with March Madness. Who do you think is going to move on to the next round, and who's going to be the seed that's going to potentially be that, that 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 11 seed that's going to make a run into the Sweet 16, the Elite 8. Who is your best bet? So I wanted to take a deeper dive into that as March Madness concludes the round of 32. I'll break down a video about that. I wanted to break down the cap a little bit because I've been asked why didn't they just restructure his deal and sign all these players too, because you just can't do it. You would have no money, literally. no money, and you'd have to pay a bunch of money in fines, and you'd probably lose a whole bunch of draft picks. So I wanted to break that down to all the people that said the Packers could have done that to save Jordy Nelson. No, they couldn't. If they want to, no, they could not. If they want to re-sign Aaron Rodgers to probably what I'm expecting to be about a 4-year, $120 million extension with about probably $100 million guaranteed. So that's something to look forward to in the upcoming weeks if you're a Packer fan. As always, feel free to check out my Facebook page, Sholey Sports. Feel free to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And as always, thank you guys for the support, and I will see you guys later. Bye.